Good morning, everyone. Mike and Jerry here, January 12th on a crisp day in New York. Although I see the Freedom Tower, it's pretty nice. Jerry, how are things in Tampa?
Crisp here as well. I walked the dogs this morning and it was 40, feels like 30 something.
You poor thing. Is
Up to
everything okay?
61. Up to 61 now, feels like 54. So, anyways, yeah, we all have our troubles living in Florida and having cool weather is not the way it should be. But
I was down in Florida right after Christmas, and we had a few of those days. It was low 40s at night, but I like it because I just open up the window and it's nice sleeping weather because it's gets that mid 60s in the room and gets you cozy.
well,
And I'm very happy I didn't get sick this trip because whenever I go to Florida, I always get sick. Last year I got the norovirus. That is exorcism level vomiting.
Whoa.
Terrible. You lose 5 pounds in a day, sort of thing.
Well, at the end of the month, we have our Lightning playing an outdoor game against the Bruins in the Raymond James football stadium. So we need a little bit of cold weather around that period.
It worked out for the Winter Classic. I think they got lucky with the weather there, that they had a cold snap in Miami when the Rangers played the Panthers. But I didn't know there was another one. But so two Florida games.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay.
Yep.
Lightning
Our
and
team's doing really well this year. How's your team?
No. I would give a king's ransom for all of the brain trust for at the Tampa facility. Rangers are just, hey, you need a bottom six, you need a bottom four players, a bottom pair of defensemen. Chris Drury, the GM of the Rangers, is your guy. But if you need to build a team that scores and wins, nah, he ain't your guy. It's very disheartening. But Tampa just, does the formula. They just, sign good players and extend them. Get rid of mediocre players and
somehow they did replenish with young people this year, better than they have in the past few years. So it does seem like they
good at it.
There is this one guy out there that I heard might be on the trading block. He's on my fantasy team for the past couple of years, Robert Thomas. He would be a hell of a pickup if someone, I heard that he might be tradable. He would be quite the player. He's the Hagel type player, in my opinion.
Yes.
That which was a totally stupid trade. Chicago getting rid of Hagel and DeBrincat. Two great players.
That's what bad teams do. They ditch in the hopes that we're gonna get some magic pick in the drafts and we're gonna get them for cheap. I don't know. It's like one in the hand is worth two in the bush. You have them here. You have them. That's the hard part, is getting those guys in the first place. You don't get rid of them.
And if you classify yourself as rebuilding, you don't get rid of young, good players for that excuse. I mean, that's what you need to acquire, young, good players when you're rebuilding. So I have no clue what people do. But anyways, what's on your mind about trend following or the markets?
Well, so got some good trends going on at the moment in the metals, I guess particularly. A few others, I guess, here and there, but it's mostly metals. But now with the news coming out this morning with the criminal investigation on the Fed chair, all those things have me worried a little bit. I'm not going to lose sleep over stuff, but I feel well prepared and well within my risk tolerance and all that stuff. I got my system, and as you do as well. So I'm very very confident uh, in all with all that. You just don't want anybody messing things around again like last year. Last year was pretty gnarly. Um, Almost a year ago at this point, but that's what I was thinking about asking you. And we talked a little bit about before we hit record, but about things like this where what are they up to now? Like can something happen? Can they say something? Can Trump say something? I don't know. Where it messes with some of these trends, and I always think like, of course they can. That's always there, no matter who's around. Um, and it's not necessarily someone in charge. It could just be some random event that kind of wax trends around. But that's always been the case. And I don't know. I feel like there's always an excuse to you get to this this area of is it time to maybe incorporate this into your system, Jerry? Uh, it's no for me, no, no, because there's always an excuse, I believe, to not do your system, and this could be one of them. You can make them up all the time, but I think this could be one of them. Because we don't want that to happen again. We don't want last March and April to happen again. So how do we prepare and defend against that? Do the system. I think that's the best way.
Yeah, I mean, I think the back test, the 30, 40-year back test has a lot of things in it that we're out of our control. Unfortunate events done by politicians or others, and trend following survived. And when we look at the back test, our parameters are adjusted because of all of that stuff. So it's always things out of our control. The facts are different all the time, but the idea is the same, which is uh, things that are out of control, good or bad, are screwing with our trends. We would make a lot more money sometimes if we didn't have to deal with it, but the back test shows us that we've survived. And then that's what trend following does well, is roll with the punches. And the long-term nature of the systems, we trade longer-term systems because that's what the back test says. Like, don't get too uptight about all of these small ups and downs, because the major trends are what you need to worry about. And I'll show you what I mean by major. And we're like, oh my God, that's really a long-term parameter there. I have to stay in and suffer quite a bit of a profit give back in some of these trades. And yeah, so that's how we make our living, has been willing to do the back test, follow the back test, choose those systems just because they were the best performers, and then actually implement them in the future, knowing full well that if all things went our way, then we would make twice as much money as we do, which is kind of not feasible. I remember back in the George Bush years, the first George Bush, I remember thinking, like, we never have good trends because things were so calm. Every problem we had was just solved without any big trend happening or any kind of crazy situations. And so I didn't like that either. Like, please bring something up, have something crazy happen so we can get some trends.
Interesting.
I think, yeah, I think that, and we don't really know, like, why is gold and silver moving, why are the base metals moving. We don't know who's to blame or if anybody's to blame for that stuff. We really have no clue as why these things are happening right now. It's
No.
not inflation. We're not getting a real big inflation signal from the bonds or the stocks. So we don't really know. It's best not to want to know.
Yeah, I think that could definitely interfere with sticking to it because I think the brain is funny in that way, where you keep telling yourself what you think it is, you keep saying it, and then you find those classic cognitive biases where you'll seek out people who think just like you, and then you see, yes, that is the reason. all right, now we know what's going on here. Now we can, do what? Predict what's going to happen. Aha, right. Okay, so you're back to that stuff. You're back to the non-trend stuff, and now you're playing fundamentals. You're playing news or whatever, and it's
Or
just
regime
sorry,
change. There's
regime change,
regimes.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
all those
there's
things where it's
regimes.
just all in the future. It's not the trend now. The current trend, I know there's no trend is in nature. It's the what we give, what we bring to the market or bring to the chart or whatever is our definition of the trend. But um, okay, we obviously have some uptrends in these markets right now, but I think that's where people can start to go. I don't really want to give these back. We're starting to do well again. Okay, I really want to avoid that April. Uh,
Yeah,
and then you're all twisted up, and you're become a mess quick.
your
Um,
mess.
and then I believe that even if you made one of those mistakes a year, that's enough to ruin a lot of your performance. Um, and it's kind of cruel, but also like it brings a smile to my face too. Like, oh, that's how fragile it can be. And I think that to me it reinforces the skill of just how important it is to just do it. And now it's a a testament of your character, not necessarily of your math skills.
Exactly.
Dave Drews said that to me. He's like, well, years and before I even got started, 15 plus years ago now. He's
Hmm.
like, yeah, your math is important, but it's not the most important thing. You need to know some math, but don't think that's the thing that really matters the most. It's character and your discipline too. How well you're versed in that. And yeah, so I think like days like today, at least just gives me the thought of, I imagine it happens to other people too, where you start getting thinking about, last year and the whipsaws and let's not play games again, please. Um,
Well, you've made a big comeback. You've had a great performance, so it was really easy at the trough for you to think, well, what should I do to make it all back? And then you didn't do anything except you did the same trades that got you into the problem.
right.
And Mulvaney's had a big comeback after a huge drop. So that's the whole key: is that what gets you in trouble is what's going to get you out of trouble. Nothing better than your system. And the system trades are the best trades. And every time we advocate a minor kind of risk management overlay, given we don't trade too large, we trade with lots of different markets, and we don't risk too much, and we don't care about sharp and smoothness, we seldom are going to need a heavy-handed risk overlay. And so, but sometimes we talk about, we would have our system does have elements of risk reduction if the drawdown gets to be a certain level. Um, and so every time I say that, though, I always say it probably won't work out as well as just
Mm,
following the system. It's a non-system trade. You need to do what it takes to stay in the game and not lose all your capital. But whatever that is, you should not expect it to work as well as just rolling the dice and not making that cutback and just following the system. Now, you don't want to do that necessarily because it's really nice bravado, but you may want to sort of say, hey, I'm in a situation now where another 5 or 10% drawdown, I really want to make that difficult to occur. So I'm going to reduce my leverage a bit, reduce my
uh-huh.
risk. But no one should ever expect non-system trades to do better than system trades. It's just not going to happen. Now, your system may suck, and you may need to improve it, but you're always going to be better off sticking with the system than an emotional response.
Yeah, and I think the real time improvisation on a system. Okay, you maybe you're a true artist, maybe you're Van Gogh or something, but probably not. Um, and maybe it only work one time. Um, and you might just get lucky if you do something different that one time and it ends up working out, or for whatever reason. But this consistent over a career, no. Uh, I don't know. I see a lot of it in baseball these days, where they're they're trying to guess sit on their pitch and try to read when the pitcher is going to throw that pitch, and then they're swinging out of their ass um, to get that double home run, that big hit. Not necessarily get a hit of any kind, just get a big hit. And hey, if you strike out, fine. That's the game. That's the approach now. Uh, and that okay, but um, I don't feel it's as robust, as healthy of an approach as just hit it where it is. Take what comes. Don't Not every hit needs to be this grand slam or this home run of some kind. It just keep the ball in play, keep it going, um, make contact. Never know what can happen. Um, but I don't know. There's always that allure of guessing, trying to guess what's going to happen and try to change things before that thing you think is going to happen happens. And I don't know. I just done enough back tests in my life where you're like, man, these things are fine. These systems are fine. Do you have it? Do you have it, Mike, to do it? Like it's just I don't know. In a year, sorry, in a life in sports, and sticking to going to practice, and you know staying true to your diet and fitness. It's the same stuff. It's just I've been going to the gym long enough to where you want to know about people, go to the gym long enough and then go when it's raining and go when it's cold. A lot of people not there. The attendance is way down on those days. And why is that? You think, oh, it just so happened that that was their off day? No, they don't want to go. They don't want to go
Mhm.
outside. That's it. That's it. They don't want to
Yeah.
do it. That's it. And enough of those days happen to where, and if you succumb to that, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do this. This is too hard. I'll make it up on the weekend. Whatever bullshit makes you feel better about it. That right there is, I think, the separator in my brain, um, over a long enough time. That is what separates people. Who just go no matter what. It's today's the day. I gotta go. Yep, I'm stressed today. I don't want to. I gotta have this plain meal. No, I just want a cozy meal to make me feel better. I'm not feeling so good today. You know, mm-hmm. That is what separates. But I think that there's enough excuses that sound good in our heads and stuff that get us to make those mistakes enough to where it becomes a real uh, drag on our performance long run.
I think it's funny too that people want to be in groups, and being in a big group, it helps them to rationalize their shortcomings. And so I think this is a lot to do with managed futures as well, is that you would expect that 90 some percent of the people, they're not doing classic trend following and allowing the markets to have drawdowns and keeping it simple with one entry, one exit, and a stop loss. No, the vast majority, the 90%, are always going to be the ones who are uh, getting away from the classic, getting away from doing the hard thing and trying to pay attention to sharp and dynamic position size. And so they can all feel good about themselves, and if you introduce people into it, you, me, or Moritz or Richard into it, then they're going to be very hostile towards it, and very upset about it because we're not going along with the group. The group would just all get along and agree to all these less than best ideas. Then it would make we wouldn't feel bad about it. And we don't want to keep hearing from Jerry that we're not doing it right. So, I think you would expect the path less traveled, the narrow path, would be the one that very few people are going to choose because it's the hard one. And sitting there and watching these markets and following this system and not writing another rule and another parameter to get rid of drawdowns or lumpiness is that's the modern CTA world. Let's just write a rule for it. I would sit around back in the day and get out of coffee. It was driving me crazy. It was my big trade of the year. I was making all this money. It was in a drawdown. I would have a bad day. Just get out of some. Well, everyone knows that's wrong. You're not following the system. Now you follow the system, you follow the rules. Now the rules suck because you just go in there and what I would do discretionarily or manually, they just write rules for it now. So you don't like silver, get out of some silver.
Yeah.
As long as you have a rule, I guess I'm good. No, you're not good. You got a shitty rule.
Yeah.
You don't get out until the trend turns.
Do you think that's happening? I mean, yeah, with these, I know it can happen in a single person versus a bigger organization with layers of leadership and stuff. But you think that happens at these big at CTAs and systematic firms where they're, because ultimately they have to like relay down, right? There has to be some guys who are in charge of the trade sheets sending the signals to the traders. They don't necessarily need a reason attached to those signals that they decided to, change some stuff. The traders don't necessarily know all that, right? I mean, so they're just doing what they're told, doing their job. But so like today, or like things like now, or even after events like last April, or March, April, whatever, you think that gets people to like, we got to have a meeting because this is a new element that is not in our back test. We have this wild card out here now that we need to, what we need to do? Maybe we won't change our entry exit signals in terms of, our classic breakouts or things like that. But until going forward, we're gonna reduce our position size, and just so we know what's going on, because we don't know what's going on right now. We don't feel too comfortable. Do you think like that stuff happens? I think it does. But do you think
Oh,
it does?
absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I think it's a daily thing.
A
It's a
daily
daily
thing.
thing where they're having meetings. You're in the research department. Your whole job is to create a better product, better Sharp, and you're not supposed to have days and months like last April. Let's look at this. Did we do something wrong? What can we do to get rid of it? They're absolutely focused on this. Bragging about yourself as scientists and having huge research departments and talking about all that stuff, and you're not going to do anything with it? No, they believe that stuff. They believe it hook, line, and sinker. They maybe do some of it for show, but they all believe that, it's this inherent, eternal search for something better, and something that gets rid of painful periods. And we like the painful periods. That's what makes trend good. And most of these painful periods are a reduction in a big profit, not small losses. The small losses add up with a
Yeah.
60% loss rate. Your small losses add up. And that's what you and I are really concerned on, is these losing
Yes.
15, 20 basis points on a trade. If it's a winning trade, we'll lose 200 basis points. And to them, it's the same thing. I don't want to lose, no, it's the same thing. You can't, it makes no sense to them to focus on 20, 50 basis points on losing trades and keep those to 20 to 50 basis points. And at the same time, you're going to risk 200 basis points on silver? No. CTAs have been huge sellers of silver for a long time. I figured out a few weeks ago before Christmas that that if you just looked at the ATR at entry, you could get rid of 80% of your silver a month ago.
Same with cocoa. I remember that too. It got
Yeah.
up to if I got in today, I would have one contract instead of 20 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh
Yeah.
no. Yeah.
I've even had people tell me to my face, that believe it or not, this is how the turtles did it. Why are you complaining? This is how the turtles did it. I was like, dude, what are you talking about?
Do
ATR.
they even know they know who you are too when they said that?
Yeah. Of course.
What?
Yeah.
Well, what does that mean?
But
This is how the turtles did it after it disbanded, and the ones that failed did that. Is that what they meant?
No, they meant this is what Richard Dennis taught. But the whole point of the ATR sizing is to normalize the losses. And then once you have a profit, you can forget about the loss part, the stop loss, and be thankful that a lot of these trades, I kind of get I start noticing, and I started seeing this in the base metals, copper, aluminum, zinc, nickel, lead, and tin, that the ATRs were kind of going lower and lower. And it's a sign of this no movement, consolidation, false breakouts. And so that's a good sign that something probably is building. Plus, it's a good sign that you can put those trades on with the low ATR and have a bigger position. Once again, focusing 100% on normalizing the losses, giving the losses the same dollar amount and the same percentage amount of the portfolio and the same distance from entry, a multiple of the ATR. So that's really, but then after that, you're happy. You're happy that you lucked out and got a low ATR in a gigantic position. And then you want to hold on to that because the trend is making all this money and it's going crazy. Plus, you have a position that you initially put on based upon the whole idea that you wanted to how to handle a loss properly. You don't have a loss now. Not going to be a loss, likely. So you just let it ride.
Right.
No. This is the improvement from Europe. Thank you, Europe. Thank you for this great improvement. You guys are always improving things for Americans. We really love it. Really appreciate it. How would we get along? So, yeah.
Say,
let it ride.
Y'all
This is
got your
trend
ass
following.
fucking replicated for 85 bips.
Yeah, exactly. And I think
Better be careful now, boys.
cutting profit short with dynamic position size is the really reason that the replication can work. Yes. And direct message me if you don't understand that.
To the audience or to me?
No, the audience.
There are some things I need help on for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're always learning. Everybody's learning, and
not on hockey, not on fantasy hockey. That I have figured out. Although you did beat me last year, but we're fine.
Yep. Oh well, a little slump this year on fantasy hockey, but I am going to figure it out. I'm going to make some a big research project on fantasy hockey.
Oh, good. You want Jordan Kyrou?
I mean,
buy him on the dip. Give me somebody. He's struggling.
Well, I think buying players on a dip is yes, I'm all for that, and I'm all for buying CTAs on a dip, but not buying a market on a dip, which is what CTAs should not do. Like being optimistic after a drawdown for CTAs, yes, I'm optimistic that the dealer in blackjack is probably going to have a really good night, even if he's lost 5 times in a row. Very optimistic with the dealer. He has an edge. Right. So I'm optimistic about us too.
Yep.
We have an edge.
It's I think in many ways that tariff period for us, that painful period, was because of things how have they done since, and that was like more the motivation when I put that little 2008 period kind of simulation together and see even in good years, even in good periods, and just so happened it worked out within the calendar then, but even in good periods that you remember them as can have very painful times. And in that 2008 example, there were virtually no trades um, done where you got washed out of something. It was just kind of it was a big these big market drawdowns within the trend, overall long term trend. So not a lot of exits occurred. That wasn't necessarily the case with the tariff stuff last year, but still, it can happen where all right, you're getting right back into things, and wow, and then your open risk comes way down, so then you have more. It's funny how that works too, where your open risk come way down because you got washed out of things, or markets got so close to your stops but didn't hit, and then you got, ironically, a higher trade level that you're using the position size even after you took a big loss. How's that possible? Like, oh, well, that's how that can work sometimes. And then you got decent positions after that, and then they've been working out since. With these metals especially, but and then here we are, uh, up pretty strongly over that last 9 months or so, and and hopefully it starts to spread to other areas. That'd be nice, you know.
We're due for the bond market and the currency markets are due for something. They've been in sideways markets for a couple of years now, and this makes up a big chunk of the
Yeah,
portfolio.
right.
And in managed futures, CTAs are really in a bind with their refusal to trade single stocks. So they're, even with a good stock market, they're not going to get as much out of that sector as they need to and as they should be getting, because with our stocks, I don't know, I haven't looked at your portfolio, or why would I? But it's just, if you trade a bunch of stocks, you're going to get 5 or 10% of them that are really going to have some good moves every year. And I've got a handful of silvers. you know, Not just one. I got a handful of silvers. Probably not quite as nice as silver, but you know what I mean.
You mean
Like that's
silver
the
stocks, like silver stock?
no, I mean silver like trades that look like silver.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. Yep.
Yeah, I got a handful of really nice looking other trends in the stocks that I trade
Mm-hmm.
that I had, I didn't predict those no more than I predicted silver. So you can get that outlier, press those outlier advantages with the single names much better than you can with an average, an index, and get more diversification. And so that's just really
And
the
what's
key
funny,
is,
I got a handful as well this year. Right now, and they're probably not names that you have, like the new ones that come out, like SanDisk, and some of the other more like chips or data. The Western Digital and Seagate, and these like Micron, these kind of AI, I guess, related sort of stocks. Then you have like weird ones like Discovery. You know, I know they got a bid in there, but like, oh wow, that's a top performer this year, or 6 months to a year. Yeah, oh, it's not all AI. No. So you
yeah,
got some of
that's
these.
another thing that's really heartening too, because that's trend following philosophy, is that
Mhm.
it trade create a portfolio that diversifies to the max, but don't try to anticipate which stocks or which sectors or which markets, futures or currencies, commodities, or interest rates are going to be the best ones. Because I tell this story a lot too, that there was one article I read, I think I posted it on Twitter, about there was one stock that outperformed NVIDIA over a certain period of time when NVIDIA did really well, and that was Build-A-Bear. Yeah, yeah. So once again, you got the trend aspect, not holding it from the very beginning when it was an IPO to the very end when it goes out of business or whatever. No, it's the trend and it's the ATR and entry And so these things can really change the performance and make it a lot better um, following the trend. I don't know what Build-A-Bear has done from a trend point of view, but just goes to show you that you should not be surprised at discovery. No, because it can one up you. Build-A-Bear. Try that
Yeah.
one. Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, wacky. And that's kind of the philosophy. Like open, not biased, not prejudiced, open to anything. Oh, we're just opportunists, and
Mhm.
it doesn't need to
And
fit the
relying upon
narrative.
this
Doesn't need to
idea that
fit the. Yeah,
and
sorry.
relying upon this idea that you can't predict. No one can predict. You don't know what the market's going to do.
Right.
It's impossible.
I mean that and the first thing said in the conversation, immediately people are like, "Well, the smartest people can," and I think they believe
Yeah.
that they can,
Yes,
and
they do.
that's what they're trying to do. And like, forget you guys. Like, you're always going to be behind. You're never going to, outperform over the long run because you need to predict to do that. And it's like, oh boy, where do we go from here? How do we?
Yeah, there are a lot of people out there who they'll maybe sort of claim that they like trend following or kind of be a trend follower, but they really have an issue with hero worship, and no one's going to worship you and me because our trend following is plain old trend following, up and down. And the longer we're in business, the more our performance is looking pretty decent, but not, we're not going to be Buffett but there's some people who can get away with having really good performance in years. And it really, uh, and they're just, a lot of the trend followers, it's really disappointing how they're really just focused on hero worship and finding people who can do it a different way and use some discretion, maybe plus some trend.
Yeah,
And it's a
yeah,
mystery.
yeah.
It's a mystery.
Artist,
And I think a part of
artistry.
it, I think part of it's due to their own failure because they can't trend follow, they can't make money. So it's better to have this mentality that nobody can really do it unless you have something else, this genius discretionary idea. And so I think it makes them feel better about their failure.
Mm, hard. That's a hard truth there. But people who are willing to kind of take that and be like, yeah, maybe you're right, and let me look inward. That's wonderful. I think the they're versus the other side of just like shut the hell up. What the hell do you know? You don't know me. You don't. Uh, um, and you get into kind of a fight or something. But there's I've had harsh coaches like that. That just I don't know how much you want it. I've heard that. Not directly to me, but directly to other kids. And it's weird because you start to play at like higher levels. You're like, how could people not want it or something? Like, how can it be that? But sometimes I think it is. Like sometimes attitudes change and people guys meet a girl, guys get involved uh, with the wrong people and their focus is elsewhere, and they're not looking at their own game like that, where someone like sitting outside can maybe more objectively kind of size you up, and it'd be helpful, but you got to be open to that criticism too. And it's not like you're just picking on me. The coach
You know,
doesn't
you
like
like
me.
to
No, he wants you to succeed. He wants you to
you
succeed.
you like to talk about sports and trading. Have you heard any good quotes that really resonated with you from the Indiana coach?
No, you know what? I don't. I know. I never went to a school that had football, so and my pro football team sucks. So I am so disengaged with football, and I didn't know about this Mendoza kid until like 2 weeks ago. And then my one of my friends is like, it's amazing. He texted me out of the blue when the game was on the other night versus Oregon, and he's like, it's amazing what they've done this year. It's like incredible how they're just dummying people. Where they got this kid who came from Cal, and then this new coach who was at what he was at JMU, like a good, I guess, decent, but not like world-beating school, and now they're just going to win the whole damn thing here. Oh, one game away. But I don't even know this coach, so no, I have nothing, zero. I'm brand new to all this.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
Have
He's
you
getting a
though?
lot of
Have
press.
has he
I don't
is he
know. There was
talking like
this
an old
one.
sage? Like, damn, this guy.
Well, one of the things that's kind of interesting about him, I found, was he. They don't do a lot of practice. They do less practice than most people. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe it was more classroom and more getting people squared away in the head. Here's how we're going to perform. But as far as he doesn't like to practice very much. And I think the quarterback, Mendoza, sent him a text the other day. This could be AI generated, but I saw this one meme where he sent the coach a text. And the coach was like, hey, don't send me any more texts like this. We have a championship game to play in a week. It's kind of funny. But yeah, it's kind of interesting too, in that well, this is something I really am fascinated by, and that is choosing coaches. Uh, People in every sport, whether it's pro or college, they're very bad at choosing coaches. And I think that this whole stupid idea of, well, we need to have the freedom to hire the best coach. Like maybe they'll be saying that as it relates to hiring a minority coach or something and following the rules of the NBA, of the NFL. But they'll, the one thing that you don't know who the best coach is. You don't even know who this person is. You know who's qualified, but that's the whole point, is that no one knows who the best coaches are. And this guy he was at James Madison and UVA and Virginia Tech passed on him, had did nothing but win, and has a good way of talking, a really down to earth and no nonsense message. And yeah, so it is just really bizarre how it's difficult for college teams to choose and probably NFL as well, to even know talent. And that's one of the issues of one of the lessons of the portal is that these big schools miss out on kids who go to Division I AA, and then they sign them after a couple of years in one AA, and they become really good. So um, no one kind of this expertise that people think they have, whether it's the markets or sports, they really don't have it. There's no evidence of it. Um, and then signing all these coaches up to these big, huge guaranteed contracts and having to pay them $50 million after you fire them. It's really absurd.
That's absurd.
No one, yeah, it's crazy. Can't predict the markets. You can't predict coaches and players that well. You can predict, obviously some of them, but there's not enough humble attitudes in the markets or in sports.
No, it's gotten a little out of control, especially with the coaches. I can't speak to every, all the details here. I'm not really prepared, but just the ones that make the headlines. I never liked that guy, Brian Kelly. Never. That dude, I think when he left, what was it, Cincinnati long ago, he took the program from nothing, and then he just ditched them all before the bowl game to go start his life at Notre Dame or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, that's wrong. Like, I don't know. Something rubs me wrong about that. Like, wait. Cincinnati is like a nothing, not a football school. They're more of a basketball school. And he took this team to a bowl game. I think it was like a decent bowl game. And he had a really good run there. And then he just ditches them right before the bowl game. It's like, oh, so these kids, this means nothing to you. You're just, I don't know. It just didn't, I remember that at the time. I think it was like 20 something plus years ago. And I don't know. I hate that attitude. It just didn't sit right with me. But they're still at it. And Brian Kelly, he goes somewhere and he changes his accent and talks like however he is. Like, fuck that guy. Like, I don't like that. And I don't know. It seems like Kiffin did the same thing. It was just like, yeah, fuck you guys. I'm going to a bigger and better life. See ya.
Yeah, that was a tough one.
I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like that.
That was a tough one. Kiffin leaving that team, going to the playoffs.
Right. Like,
all right. Well,
yeah.
I'm going to call it a day. Call it an hour.
Call it an hour. Oh, 45 minutes. We're good.
Oh, good.
of recorded time. That's okay. We go a little further than we should sometimes, but it's fun. It's more like venting. You got to vent too. This is like for our
Oh,
therapy
yeah.
too,
It's all about venting.
guys.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's do that here. Nothing crazy happens. Well, hopefully maybe something crazy happens. It doesn't necessarily crazy is usually not bad, as you said, from the '90s to now. I want crazy, but yeah, good luck this week in hockey.
Same to
Get the
you.
final 4 weeks of the regular season here for everyone. I know they're hanging on the edge of their seat about our results. Me and Jerry are pretty close, right? I think we have the same record, 8-6 or whatever we are.
I think I'm
So
one behind you.
we'll see how it turns out. But then we'll get back on when you maybe before that. But you have your news about your new ETFs coming out, so we'll talk about that. Do some help you promote that.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right, good talking. Bye everybody.
Take care.